stood beside me. I swore an oath to my countrymen and kin. Side by side we sang our anthem oh so proudly. And this is where a soldier's tale begins. We left for foreign shores in the name of freedom, comrades in arms for the liberty of man. Shoulder to shoulder, but still could not redeem them in God's name, but no one could understand.
Hello and welcome to the Late Night Veteran Show. Darren, I can see you sat there in the background. If you just hold on there while I interview the travelling veteran, and we'll get you on second. You just sit there backstage. Welcome to the Late Night Veteran Show. This is episode 71. The banter's real, the talks are real, and the stories are real. So first up, we've got the travelling veteran first up on the show. But I want to play a little clip that he sent me. It's about 6 minutes long, so bear with me. Please like, share, and subscribe, guys, while I find this. And
Hi, my name's Dean, also known as a travelling veteran. I've lived with combat-related PTSD for the past 20 years after my tour in Iraq. I say lived with rather than suffer with, because you can live with it. And if you follow these steps, then you should be able to get as much life as possible whilst living with PTSD. Whilst the content of this video is primarily aimed at veterans living with PTSD, it can help many other people dealing with their own mental health problems. So give this video a watch. You've got nothing to lose and possibly a whole lot to gain. In the past 20 years, I've found and developed strategies which enable me to get the most out of my life alongside living with PTSD. I'd like to share those strategies with you in something I like to call the Veteran's First Aid Kit. Before we start, just want to say, by you watching this video, you've done two things. One, you've acknowledged that you've got PTSD, and two, you've acknowledged that you want to do something about it. So well done, you've just completed step one. That was easy, wasn't it? The first thing we're going to look at, and probably the most important thing, is this. You can have the best doctors in the world, you can have the best medicines in the world, but the one thing that can help you more than all of that is you. You are the author of your life. Nobody's going to walk you like a child, hand in hand. You need to be willing to stand up and say, if I'm going to do something about this, then I need to take those steps myself. If you're going through life and it seems like you're going round and round in circles and not getting anywhere, change something. Unless you make a change somewhere in your life, guess what? Nothing's going to change. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. If you're out of work and whatever you're doing isn't getting you that job, then do something different. Whatever you're doing isn't getting you from where you are now to where you want to be tomorrow. So change something. Own your PTSD. PTSD is a part of me. It is me. It's not going to go away, but I can live as good a life as possible while still having PTSD. Don't shy away from it. Don't be scared of it. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't let PTSD get in the way of where you are now and what you want to do tomorrow. Own it like you would own the best car in town. Be honest with yourself. Get that therapy. Chat to others. Open up. Start living your life again. Make a plan. Nobody woke up in the morning and decided, you know what, I want to be a millionaire. And by the end of that day, they were a millionaire. It takes work. So today you're here with me, and tomorrow you want to start your plan. You need to have a plan. A, B, C, D, E, and F, and so on. Guess what? Your plan won't go to plan. It just never does. The difference between where you are today and where you want to be is being that person that goes from A to B to C. D doesn't work, so let's find a different way to get to E. F, G, and so on. there is always another route. I'll remind you of something that I learned in basic training. It doesn't matter how far you can run today or how far you can run tomorrow. What matters is that you don't give up. Be that snowball. The mind is a very powerful tool. It can damage you. It can make people do terrible things. But if you use it the right way, it can be the most powerful tool ever and enable you to reach goals you never thought possible. So what is the snowball effect? If you're feeling down, don't want to get out of bed, don't want to get dressed, don't want to do this, don't want to do that, then guess what? This is going to keep snowballing on and on and on. But if you do something to better yourself, then guess what? That has exactly the same effect. Do something to get your life back on track. Then take another step, and then another, and then another. And before you know it, life becomes easier, things start going right, and now you have a brighter future. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, then please leave a comment below. It not only helps the channel, but it also helps those going on their own journey through PTSD. There will be other videos on the channel focusing on various aspects of PTSD, alongside some videos travelling around the world. We just come back from Mexico, just going back to Benidorm again. We'd like doing challenges all over the world. We just signed up with extreme day trips, which means we're going to do crazy challenges going all over the world. So please subscribe to be notified of our next video. Until next time, take care, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next video. To finish the video, we're just going to briefly recap on some of those steps. You can have the best doctors in the world. You can have the best medicine in the world. But the one thing that can help you more than that is you. Change something. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Make a plan. Nobody woke up in the morning and decided, you know what, I want to become a millionaire. And by the end of that day, they were a millionaire. It takes work. Be that snowball. Negative thoughts have negative actions and just propel more negative thoughts. Positive thoughts have positive actions and propel more positive thoughts.
Thanks for that, travelling veteran. As you can see, we've got Darren right here on the side there. I'm just going to, you've had an introduction to travelling veteran via his video, but I'm going to bring Darren up and show you what he does a little bit before going back to travelling veteran. I got a little video of what Darren does on his TikTok, and I really like what he does, but I'll let him explain that in a minute. But here's one video.
My name is Darren Wright. I'm the founder of Veterans into Logistics. Today I'm on Birch Services. I've just spoken to Johnny. You can have a quick chat with me. How are you doing, Johnny?
Not bad. Right.
Listen, thanks for talking to me, mate. I just want to ask you a few questions because I try and promote people into this industry. If you don't mind me asking, mate, how long have you been a HGV driver?
Been a HGV driver for 2 years.
2 years?
2 years I've been driving these.
Right, okay.
Company's put me through my licence.
Which company do you work for?
Sapphire.
Sapphire. So Sapphire on Veterans Job Board UK. Would you recommend this company to work for?
Yeah.
So, if you can tell me, do you fancy jumping out of the truck? So if you can tell me, mate, right, you've been a HGV driver for 2 years.
Yeah.
What did you do before that?
Before that, worked in a chicken factory.
You worked in a chicken factory?
Yeah.
So you was the chicken man?
I was a chicken man.
Right, so any regrets of not being a chicken man and coming being a truck?
No regrets.
No. So this vehicle there, it's a class 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you do in this job?
So day to day, you do your vehicle checks in the morning, you'll go out, you'll get jobs on a tablet.
Right.
Go to addresses, anybody that's had any issues with the drains and stuff, and you'll go either clearing blockages, cleaning the drains for them, resolving people's problems.
So this is a tanker, isn't it?
Yeah.
So is it vacuum?
Yeah, vacuum and water.
Is it?
Yeah.
So do you work on your own, or do you?
No, we work in pairs.
You work in pairs?
Yeah.
So you got a driver's mate there?
Yeah.
Is he alright?
He's alright.
Is he alright?
Yeah, good lad.
So if you don't mind me asking, what type of money do you get on this job? You don't have to say the hour. Roughly what do you earn a year?
In a year,
Yeah.
depending on overtime.
Yeah.
So with the overtime that I do, probably about 55 a year, 55 grand a year.
About 55 grand a year?
Yeah.
Not bad for a Class 2 driver, that, is it?
No, not too
Right.
bad. You've got to put the hours in for it.
It's like anything,
yeah.
isn't it? So I always say you get out what you put in. You know what I mean? But Sapphire Utility got their jobs on Veterans Job Board UK. Do you know what I mean? So if there's any service leaver who's looking to get into it, I know this company will take on newly qualified.
Yeah.
And they will put him through it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Put me through training. And
so they put you through training.
Yeah.
So there you go. Sapphire Utilities, they put him through his HGV. Got your driving a HGV.
Yeah.
Did you work for these before? How long did you work for these for before you got your HGV?
Been with these total of been 9 years, 10 years in April next year.
Was it?
Yeah.
Right, okay then. Well, listen, Johnny, thank you for talking to me, mate.
All right.
You're man at sharing this on social media.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much, and I'm man on a mission.
So there you have it, was Darren Wright's TikTok. So I'm firstly going to bring on the travelling veteran. Introduce yourself, tell us what you served, and I'll move over to Darren Wright. I'll jump back and forth between you both, and I've got a few questions. There won't be any questions that shouldn't be asked, so don't feel uncomfortable. If you don't want to answer them, it's fine. But it's the questions that I've got from the Armed Forces Covenant that I'm allowed to ask. So introduce yourself, Dean. Go for it, travelling veteran.
So my name's Dean, also known on social media as Travelling Veteran. I served for 6.5 years in Royal Logistic Corps. I was a drops driver, if you know what that is, HGV1 driver qualified. I was medically discharged in 2003 after coming back from Iraq, suffering from PTSD. I carried on in my civvy role as a HGV driver for around 20 years until the lack of sleep paired with driving a lorry, sorry, obviously is not a good combination. So I was medically retired. I had nothing. I had to start from square one, and I was on benefits, disability benefits, the whole lot. And I had to start from scratch. I had nothing, zilch, nothing at all. There's a few charities that really went above and beyond to help me. But I retrained as an electrician, went back to square one, back to college. I now have a very successful company earning quite a good turnover. And also I dedicate now a lot of my spare time to helping other veterans come to terms with their PTSD, giving them tools in order to make them work to get a better future, if that makes sense.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for that introduction there. So I'm going to move on to Darren Wright before I ask you guys some questions. Darren Wright, welcome. It's your first time on the show. Introduce yourself, mate.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, my name's Darren Wright. I'm the founder of Veterans into Logistics. I served in the British Army. I was my next Airborne gunner. I was 2-1 Battery 4-7 Regiment Royal Artillery, based down Thorney Island. I've done over 5 years. That's it, really.
Okay, so I'll go back to the travelling veteran. So what was a typical day like for you during your service?
Well, I was mainly on tour. So typical day could be anything. We was working, if you take Iraq, for instance, we were working 7 days a week. I was on between Optech 1 and 2, so halfway between 1 and on Optech 2. So 2003, during quite a big invasion and all that, we were working 5 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. When we finished work, we'd have to do like washing up or something like that. It was relentless. It was so knackering and tiring. And next day, having to go back, do exactly the same thing on the scary routes. Like we would drive in like white vans, White Fleet. I was attached to the postal and courier squadron, so we did delivering mail. Some people might argue it's not an important job, but you think about the morale of everyone in Iraq, that's what we were responsible for. So wherever the British forces went, that's where we went, including places like Alamara, where it was quite dangerous. Unfortunately, there was even 6 RMPs that tragically died. My thoughts are with their family and friends. But we used to have to go up to that place, quite regularly. And it was quite scary, to be honest, yeah. But having to go through that again and again and again, I'll just say, anyone who's been in conflict or someone don't know, if they're a civvy, the first time you're out, in sort of a war zone, if you like. It's like the best drug you can have. It's like having heroin, and I've never had drugs, but it's like having heroin. But you try doing that over and over and over again every single day, and that wears you down. And we only had 20 rounds to go around Iraq. We had old mobile phones, Nokia mobile phones. There were no phone masks, and we were dangerous. If we got attacked, we'd be stuffed, and that's it. And that is the cause. And I think that's what got me to my PTSD.
Thank you very much for that, mate. That's incredible. Darren, I've got a question for you. What was the most challenging part of your training and the experience in the military?
I think passing P company. P company was hard, you know. Wow. But yeah, I managed to pass that. Passed it first time, but I found that hard. But I just wanted to earn that maroon machine, should I say? And when I passed that, yeah, I just fell on top of the board when I earned it.
So go into your business then. What made you focus on veterans? What, if you don't mind sharing?
So I'll be truthful. So when I left the armed forces, you know, well, before I left, I'd done Afghanistan. When I left, I ended up in the Army Mental Hospital up in Catterick, and I got wrongly discharged. But when I left, I struggled with the transition. You know, I turned to self-medicating, like drink, alcohol, drugs.
I did the same.
Did you? Yeah. I felt lost. Fell by the wayside. Lost my marriage. And I was in such a bad way. I became homeless. Didn't want to be here. And I spent 2.5 years in that stuck in that rut. Didn't know what was wrong with me. You know, I wouldn't wish what I went through then on my own worst enemy. And got involved in criminality because I couldn't hold down a full-time job. Got involved in criminality. You know what it's like when you come from a council estate. When you go back, everyone thinks that you're at Middleton, should I say? Do you know what I mean? But one thing that you do when you've been in the military, you definitely don't take any shit when you get out. Yeah. And so I got involved in criminality. I regret the crime, but I ended up receiving a custodial sentence. And if I didn't go to prison, I won't be here now. So I went to prison, and believe it or not, I got the support that I needed in prison that I never got when I left the military. Combat stress got involved in me. I got diagnosed. I got the support that I needed, and that's what put me on the road to recovery, to tell you the truth. You know, so when I did leave prison, you know, my head was like straight. I saw the Darren I was before I joined the military. I wanted to live again. I wanted to be a father to my kids. I was looking forward to life. Do you know what I mean? And I was me again. You know, and so when I come out, you know, I rebuilt my life. But I used my HGV license to rebuild my life. You know, to become a dad again. You know, to become part of society. I went on to become a fuel tanker driver. So I used to drive for Morrison's. I used to live at Morrison's petrol stations. And I rebuilt my life. And in 2018, I get one of the phone calls out of the blue. And it was one of the phone calls I've heard about Such Your Body. And it was, have you heard about Jamie Doyle? And when you get them phone calls, you know what's going to come next. And he was found dead that morning. So at the time, no lie, I was happy, like living a decent life. I went to that funeral, and that funeral hurt me a lot more than what I thought it would. So I connected with a lot of my mates. Some were still serving, some were veterans. But he's been at that funeral, and Jamie had a top send off. He came from like a Liverpool Scouts Irish family, so we had a top send off. You know, it was one of the best funerals I've been to. But it's when I left that funeral, I was on my own as a truck driver. And you know, like when you've got a car and no one's got one, but as soon as you buy it, you start seeing that type of car. Well, that's what happened with me when I left that funeral. I started seeing like more like the suicide rate, you know, on of veterans on social media. And as a truck driver, when I was working on my own as a fuel tanker driver, and I was like working early hours on my own, it made me think more. And then I started looking at like the homeless veterans on the street, you know, the veterans in prison, 10% of prison population ex-military, you know, the veterans that are being found dead, you know, on the streets, the suicide rate. And the more I thought about it, and I thought to myself, it's a bit of a class thing, this, you know, because they tend to be tend to be from a council estate, been in the infantry, or less academic. They've not had the right support when they leave. They've not struggled to get into employment. And I just thought of my own experience where I'd used my HCV license to rebuild my life when I left prison. And I look at it like this: I could train someone in 6 weeks to be on a 50 grand a year job, 50 grand a year job. So I'd never done a driver training school before, but I set up Veterans into Logistics in 2020.
Brilliant.
And I named my first truck. I bought a Class 2 truck, and I named it after Jamie Dole, my mate Jamie Dole.
Oh, wow.
With his mum.
Good.
Love
Good.
that.
Named it after him. And then we got a Class 1 vehicle. And I come from the same council estate as Fusilier Rigby. So I used to live on the same street as him, different times, but we lived on the same street. My dad knew his mum, Lynn. So I got my dad to reach out to his mum, went down and seen her. And I named the second vehicle that we had, our Class 1 vehicle, after Fusilier Rigby.
Brilliant.
It's gone on from there, to tell you the truth. I help a lot of, and then I just started helping veterans, the ones that are struggling, the ones that are struggling to get a job after they've left. And you don't realise, that the power of employment, what it can do and how it can change your life. And yeah, it's gone from there today. We end up getting 3 new Volvos, North Volvo. I've found some fantastic partnerships with different companies. Last year, we managed to train and support 270 and got them into employment. We've just found a partnership used driver training. So we're getting 10 vehicles in Veterans into Logistics colours. That's going to enable us to give us a national footprint and that enable us to help more veterans. So we'll have a truck in London, Birmingham, Leicester, spread out across the country, Scotland. And it's all about, upskilling people, upskilling those who have left the armed forces, those who are struggling, those who are on shit jobs, you know what I mean? And support them into no HGV jobs. Now, I'm not saying truck driver is the best job in the world, but you can earn a living out of it.
Yeah.
And if you want to retrain, it's a 24/7 day a week industry. If you want to work 2 days a week, you can work 2 days a week. If you want to work 1 day a week, you can work 1 day a week. If you want to go to university and work a couple of days a week, you can do. It's a perfect job where you can retrain. And the travelling veteran side, he's got 20 odd years experience as a driver.
Yeah.
The main thing is you will never go not unemployed. And
Right.
some of the veterans that we've supported now, some of them cannot move to Canada, got out of this country. Some are on the Family Bond circuit, and it's changed their life. And
good.
I feel like I'm talking too much, but
no.
I just want to interrupt there, Darren. What you said there, that story there, right? I did exactly the same. I left the military. I didn't save long. I only saved just a little bit more than you. But what your story's there, I came out, couldn't adapt to civilian life, even though it wasn't long service. I went head on the drugs. I failed my children. Now it's all coming together for me. I've got seeing this as a focus. Oh,
yeah.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because if you had one, yeah, I can hear you. If you had one message to say to people, can you hear me? 1 second.
Hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
1 minute.
Okay. Travelling veteran, while he's sorting that out, can you share a moment where, can you share, my phone's just gone off. Sorry about that. I should memorize it. Can you share a moment when you had to step up as a leader, or planned or not?
God, wow. You do like throwing these questions at me, didn't you? Oh, wow.
If not, I could change the question.
Oh, God, I can't think. My mind's got blank for that. Leave it with me and I'll come back to you.
Yeah, I'll leave it with you. Darren, let's just do another sound check. Can you hear me, Darren? No, we've lost him there. Okay.
Got it. I got the answer.
Go for it.
So after I was medically discharged, I went, and for me in my life, since I was about 10 years old, volunteering has been a part of my life since I was 10 years old. I'm now 49, so 39 years I've been volunteering, 40 years next year. So when I come out of the army, I volunteered for the Royal British Legion in various different roles, but one of my most proudest roles is when I was the head of the Poppy Appeal in Northampton. So I was Poppy Appeal organizer in Northampton, which means that I deal with the people that go out collecting on the streets, loads of events throughout the year. and dealing with councils and those that I was ahead of it, and I took it. It was on about 80,000 a year. I took it in the first year to 127,000, and in the second year 135,000. And that was because I had a good leadership, not only me, but I had great volunteers that would really help me out because I was leading them well and I knew how to speak to them. And that's something I'm really proud of that time in my life.
So tell us a bit more about the Travelling Veteran. Why did you set it up? What are your goals? What are you doing? And do you see it as a focus as well? Because with me doing this show, it's a sort of a focus because I did go down the wrong path. Now my life's getting back on track.
What you say there is exactly what people need, whether you're a veteran or otherwise, civilian or anything. What people need in life is they need a future and they need a purpose. With me, with doing this, that gives me both them things. I'm planning on retiring in about 5 years' time and probably just doing the YouTube, social media stuff, going to be carry on traveling around the world and doing the self-help stuff, trying to help people out. What was I going to say? I lost what I was going to say there. Yeah, so firstly, initially, you may or may not recognize me because I've been on YouTube as an electrician as well. A company called Dr. Electric. I had like 4,000 subscribers for quite a few years. I did not want to do YouTube because, and you'll get this, no matter how you do something, as you're doing electrical work, no matter how well you do it, you'll always have someone having a go at you, slagging you off, whatever, and they'll be ribbing you for whatever reason. You could do the best job ever and they will still have a go at you. That's the YouTube please for you. So I didn't want to do it. And eventually I got fed up with just filming electrical work. I love traveling. So I thought, why not switch it over, do some traveling, go all around the world. I've been to Thailand, Mexico. I like to go back to Benidorm quite a bit. In 2 weeks' time, I'm going to Turkey. And then in February, I'm going to Egypt. And soon, hopefully, going to Ukraine to do an aid run for the Ukraine people.
Thank you very much for that, mate. Darren, are you back in the room? Can we hear you?
Back in the room. Can you hear me?
We're
okay?
back in the room. Yeah. I just wanted to go back to what you said because I did a similar thing. It takes balls to say what you said and to see you come out the other side is just absolutely incredible. If you had a message to people that there is light at the end of the tunnel, what would your message be?
My message would be, for those who are struggling, go to a veterans, breakfast club. Reach out, get involved with veterans who wore a t-shirt or who struggle themselves. That's one thing I never done myself. I didn't get the support, but if you reach out, the best people to speak to are the ones who have who've gone through it themselves and who understand you. And the best thing, I do, I go to armed forces breakfast clubs now. And you can. I know people think it's for old people. It's not. They've got all different ages, but you can get support. And I think there's different elements of people struggling. So for some people, when they join the military, that's when they first get like that family feel. I was one of them. And obviously when you leave and you lose that identity. And some people do struggle like we all do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But me personally is reach out. In any way that you can, speak to other veterans, people that understand you, people that will have that banter with you, might even take the piss out of you, but at least you got someone that you can speak to, someone that you can trust, and they're going to point in the right direction and put an hand on you and give you that support that you need.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Darren. Incredible. I'm really glad you brought that up as well because I've done a show on me and about my past because I'm still getting trolls now about my past. I used to do. I'm just going to say I used to do drug dealing. I used to take drugs. I used to do all this kind of stuff. I've robbed off my mum and nan and everything like that. I've been there. I've done it. I've been in trouble, but I've changed my life now. I've turned it around. But they control me all I want. People do change.
It's called survival. It's called survival, isn't it? You know what I mean? And when you come out, you haven't got that job, and it's called surviving. Like I personally, I go into prisons now. When you think I've done 6 years behind the door, I actually go into prisons and I speak to veterans. All the time, and I support veterans who come out, and you tend to find most of them who, all right, there's a few that have got involved in heavy criminality, but then you get some that are coming out who are just committing crimes to survive, or their heads are their heads are fucked and they lost themselves, and I go and speak to them. I've trained quite a lot of them up and got them into jobs where they don't have to reoffend. I've took homeless veterans off the streets.
Wow.
You know, I've got them trained up, and I've turned around and I said, why are you sleeping in an alley when you can get paid for sleeping in a truck? There's one veteran that I've seen in Manchester. He was in Prestwich, and I remember walking past it. You know, when you see him you see him like ex-military, and he's there, and I walked over to him, and you sort of sound him out, don't you? Ask him a few questions just to make sure that they're genuine.
Yeah, of course,
He was genuine. Like, where did you serve, mate? No, blah blah blah. And he's genuine. And I said to him, I said, can I ask you a question? Because he was very coherent. And I said, have you got a prop alcohol? No, drug problem. He went, no. I said, well, what are you doing here, mate? You know, like that. He said, if you want to know the truth, he said, I split with Mrs. last year. He said, lost my job, split with Mrs. He said, I went to the local council and they put me in this supported accommodation. He said, it's a right shithole, you know, it was full of druggies. Yeah. He said, so I'd rather sleep in a tent, right, than sleep in the accommodation. And he said, I'll just do this for money. So I said, have you got your driving license? And he went, yeah. XRLC as well. I said, have you got your driving license? And he went, yeah. I said, would you like your HGV license?
Wow.
And he looked at me and though, like, as if I was like, I went, listen, I can help you. So he said, yes. So I picked him up, took him to the charity. We got him his medical books, sorted him accommodation out, like put him in a hotel, got in touch with British Legion, got him a bit of accommodation. Cut a long story short, I got him his HGV license. I got him a job with one of our partners who, it was terminology is tramping, which you'll understand what I mean. Yeah. But for people who don't understand what tramping is sleeping in your truck. Yeah. So I got my job sleeping in a truck Monday to Friday. And I said to him, I said, listen, mate, I said, go and sleep in your truck Monday to Friday, right? I said, treat it like basic training, right? If you don't like it, go and do 12 weeks, do 16 weeks of it. If you don't like it, you know, you don't need to do nights out. So he said, right, fair play, give it. We went and done it. And slept in his truck Monday to Friday. He was staying in a B&B at the weekend. He came to see me last year. And he came to the office. And our office, you can't see outside, no, at the front. And he came and see me. He went, Daz, come out. So I walked out and I thought he was going to show me his truck. And it was a white Audi. And it looked like brand new. And he went, this is my car, right? So it was about 4 years old, this Audi, but he was like, better car than what I had. And he said, this is my car. He said, I wouldn't have this if it wasn't for you. And I turned around, I said, listen, mate. I said, you got this. You're the one who puts the hours in. You're the one who do the nights out. Do you know what I mean? I said, I just facilitated it. And that's what we've done, really. And there's loads of veterans, no lie. I've took loads of veterans out of these supported accommodation. Some of these supported accommodations, you get your good ones, but a lot of them are called entrapment centres. You know, they pretend that they care for the veterans, but a lot of them don't. They just look at them as a pound sign where they can earn money, right? And to me, I hate these entrapment centres because they're entrapping people who serve the country and they're not getting the proper support that they needed. Do you know what I mean? They just look at it as like a head on a pillow, and they're claiming decent money for it. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Darren. Incredible. I just want to go to a comment here from Polar Knights. He's put, as a former army barber, I love this show. It is every stage of a beard growth. So thank you for that. Thank you for that message there. Going back to the travelling veteran then, what's your plans next? Where are you travelling off to next? And also, I'm going to jump in with a question as well. How did you find it transitioning from leaving the military to civilian life?
Wow, yeah. So, as I said, coming up in 2 weeks, I'm going to Turkey. Hope to go to do Ukraine run soon because there's loads of people doing that. Hopefully, if anyone has a Ukraine trip coming up, let me know. I'll jump on board. I'll give you some money towards fuel and everything like that. I'm really struggling trying to find someone to get to Ukraine with. And going to Egypt next year. Next year, I've got a really special thing involved. I am planning to do a banger rally from the UK, probably Dover, and drive all the way to Sarajevo in Bosnia, which is where I served in Bosnia. I served at Banja Luka Metal Factory, as some people know it. and that's all in aid of a very, very special charity that's really close to my heart called the Veterans Charity. They do amazing work throughout the whole of the country. They help me massively. Well, no, they help me. They say a little bit, but what they done more than all of that is they gave me hope for a better future, brighter future, and they gave me support when I needed it within 24 hours. So I'm doing all this for them. Brilliant. So that's something I've got coming up. And sorry, what's the next question?
How did
transition.
Transitioning from military life to civilian life.
So when I was in my unit, I'm sorry if this is going to upset anyone from my unit. I'm just going to tell it as it is. Once you got medical discharged or left or whatever the reason was, you were never heard of again. You were banished, and that name was never heard of again. If you spoke of that name, that was it. It was bad news. But I had no help from my unit. They'd only just come back from Iraq. I got medically discharged, and I didn't hear from them again. And another friend of mine, Nick Wilson, also known as a disabled veteran.
I know that name.
Disabled adventurer. He's got a YouTube video just released, I think yesterday.
Is he from Bedford?
Sorry?
Is he from Bedford?
He's Northamptonshire, the same as me, just down the road from me. He travelled up to the top of Mount Snowdon. Have a look at that video. YouTube, have a look, Disabled Adventurer, and I'm sure he'll come onto the channel soon. He's an amazing guy. But anyway, the way he put it, and this is a perfect explanation. Imagine being married to someone for 18 years, and then all of a sudden that person jumps up and walks out for no reason, nothing at all. You never hear of that person again. You don't know why they left. And that's what it's like. That's what it's like for a lot of people, no matter how many years you serve. And that's what it was like for me. One day you're in the army, next day you're a civilian. Even I remember at my med board, you have to sit in a med board when you can medically discharge in front of a couple of old elderly doctors. And I said, last question to them, because they said, do you have any more questions? And I said, now I'm medically discharged, who's responsible for my treatment, my PTSD? And he said, you have to go to the NHS. And I was flabbergasted. It's like a smack round the face. I was like, I gave you all my service, put my life on the line many, many times, and now I'm on my own.
If you save your country should save you. And it's
100%. Right, that's well out of order. And this is the type of thing that I'm fighting for. And I'm going to keep on shouting about the lack of support for veterans until everybody that needs to know has heard what I've got to say.
Yeah, thanks for that. Darren, I'm just going to show a picture of the travelling veteran. He's going to explain what it is. But if I'm going to ask you the same question, so have a think about it. How did you find it transitioning from military life to civilian life? So travelling.
My name is Darren Wright.
That's the wrong one. If you just explain what this is whilst it's up.
Oh yes, yeah. So that is. I was recently nominated, and I'm now a finalist in the English Veterans Award as the Inspiration of the Year Award and it's for the work that I do trying to promote veterans' mental health and trying to help get the veterans back to life that they should be leading. I'm really proud of that. I've got that right here, and I find out that there are. I was amazed. I was around so many amazing people there. Ben Parkinson, if you know Ben Parkinson, top guy. Ron Marine. Ron,
yeah.
But yeah, he's a finalist as well. And I was just telling my story to all like brigadiers and all sorts, and they were like, "Wow, what you're doing there is amazing." But I find it hard to see that. I'm just doing a purpose that needs to be done, and that's what I'm doing.
Brilliant. So Darren, back to you. How did you find it transitioning from military life to civilian life, and what's your future plans for the company, because your company seems to be growing and you're in partnership with someone?
Truthfully, it's shit. There is no support. When I was with Bosnia a few weeks ago, and I said to him, I got more support leaving prison than what I did leaving the military, and I suggested a solution to him. And what I turned on and said to him was, listen, we've got the infrastructure there with the reserve centres. I said, I believe that when you leave the armed forces, whether you've done 4 years, 22 years or 35 years, you should do a transition back to wherever you're going back to. So if you live in Manchester, if you live in Northampton, if you live in Glasgow, you should do the last 4 months in the reserve centre. What will that do? One, if you do the last 4 months in the reserve centre, you're getting paid while you're there. You can where you're still getting paid, you can get the support, from the reserve centre. Go to the med centre. I was going to say med centre. Go to the doctors to sort of make sure that you got go to the doctors, dentist. Look at the employment opportunities that you can have there. You can still see what it's like being in reserve, so you might want to stay in the reserves. Because I look at it like this: if someone leaves the armed forces, say they've done, like I said, 4 years, 10 years, or whatever. If some of them end up on the street, or they end up in prison, or they end up, on the streets, what good are they to our country if it does kick off? Exactly. But if they've done more to to support them through the reserve centre, to make sure they got employment, it makes that transition a lot easier. And to know that they support on the doorstep, where they can still go to the reserve centre, to speak to someone for support. Because when I went from a closed prison to an open prison, I spent for nearly 5 years in a closed prison, and then I went to an open prison. Then I started working. They started getting me ready to integrate back into society. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what they should do. With the military, go to the reserve centre. You can hand your kit in there. If you don't want to stay in reserves, and they can send that in a MFO box back to your regiment. But at least you got support in your own town where you're from. And I'm not being funny. They'll have that support there, the reserve centres, where they've got established links with companies. They've got established links with training providers. You're not on your own. There's breakfast clubs in your area. Do you know what I mean? And me personally, that's what I think they should do. And I think it's a prevention rather than a cure, and it will show what's on your doorstep.
Yeah, thanks for that, Darren. That's incredible. So we're coming up to the 45-minute mark. The show's between 45 minutes to an hour. I haven't got any more questions for you, but do you guys want to, Travelling Veteran, do you want to tell where they can find you on your platforms and what platforms you're on? And then after you, Darren can go for it. And then
before I say that, can I just say I've got 20 years worth of logistics experience as a Class 1 driver, and now I'm an electrician, so I'm like midway between you guys.
I'm an electrician.
I know, yeah, there you go. Can I just say, from when I started being a HGV driver in about 99 till 20 years later, I was earning, I think, £600 a week back then, and the wages didn't change for a very, very long time. And the HGV industry has changed massively. They've regulated the hours more. You've got digicards, you got your driver's CPC, and more importantly, the wages have gone up so much. So there's never been a better time to get involved in HGVs than now. And what Darren's doing there is brilliant. Once you've got a HGV, you've got a job for life, and it's a really good thing you're doing. So I just want to finish by saying, on my socials, you can find me on TikTok, a Travelling Vet, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Just Google Travelling Veteran and you'll come across me.
Thank you so much for that, Travelling Veteran. And just before I go over to Darren, Travelling Veteran is going to become a co-host on the Late Night Veteran Show. He's not going to be on every week. He's going to come on once a month, which is great. Dave Hackett is left to do his own show. I was quite sad to see him go, but people go on their own journeys and we've left on good terms. So Darren Wright, where can people find you? And we will share all your platforms tomorrow, guys, on our platform to get people to follow you. So take it away, Darren.
I'm not big on the social, but I've got a TikTok, which is Man on a Mission, where I'm talking to different truck drivers, to give service leavers, veterans, what it's like being a truck driver. They can go on to veteransinterlogistics.org.uk if they want support. They can go on the website, fill the referral form in. I'm also part of Veterans Job Board UK, where it's got all different jobs on there, for service leavers and veterans. And tomorrow I'm at the North West Truck Fest. So if anyone's in the area, come along, say hello. I'm actually on the Volvo stand. So like I said, if any veterans just come along, let's have a chat. Chinwag and all that. And if there's any service leave veterans that I want to get into in the industry, go onto my TikTok, Man on a Mission. Send me a message and I'll do my best to support you and get you into the industry. And then keep up the great work. And I used to live in Northampton, and when I started becoming a fuel tanker driver, I used to I used to load out on I used to work out on Northampton, just behind the rugby stadium. Between the
BP.
Yeah, that's where I started off as a fuel tanker driver.
Thanks very much, Darren. Darren, if it's okay with you, can I get you on like every 3 months as an update and your story? Because the show's getting bigger and bigger. We're now approved by the Armed Forces Covenant, and your story was incredible because I did exactly the same, and I just think people do need to see there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I've got my own electrician business. You've got your own driving business, which is incredible.
Of course you can, and you know what? It's working together. I always say to a veteran that we support, the deal is, once we help you, if you see a veteran that needs help, you bring him along. Don't just point him in the right direction. Bring him along. Bring him for a coffee. Because you know yourself, veterans are proud. And some you can say, oh, you can get support there. They don't reach out. So I always say, get him, bring him along. Let's have a coffee and let's see how we can support them, and let's change their lives together. Let's work together. And you can't do everything. I stay in my lane in what I do. Do you know what I mean? And what I do, I always signpost veterans to other places if I can't help them. Do you know what? But I always signpost them in the right direction.
An extra mile,
100%. It's working together, and and so that's what we do. I stay in the logistics sector, I stay in the employment sector, I stay in the retraining. But if I can't help them and they need additional support, I point them in the right direction. But we stay working together.
And thanks for that, Darren. And also, I'd like to say, I don't think anybody should judge another veteran as well, regardless on his past or whatever, because when I set up this show, people are tarnishing me, but people do change, like yourself, Darren, and it just goes to show, all the trolls can just disappear.
But listen, everyone's got a past. Everyone. Yeah. Some people have just been caught, some people haven't. But we've all got a past, mate, and you can't judge anyone, your circumstances, your mental health was at the time, I committed a time, would I commit it now? No, I wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? No, exactly. But at the time when I was didn't want to be here, I was homeless, I was taking drugs, I was taking alcohol. I didn't care. If you don't care about living, you're not caring about going to prison.
Yeah, exactly.
Prison actually saved my life. I won't be here now. So when they say to me, being to prison, I go, yeah, it did. Yeah. It saved my life. Do you know what I mean?
You're saying you would never change your past because it's made you who you are.
I won't change my life now.
That's great.
I would not be. It's not the person that I am now. The amount of people that I help. Do you know what I mean? The amount of people that I look at prevention rather than cure. But a lot of they listen to me because I've been there. When I talk to them, I've worn a t-shirt and I go, listen, I've been where you were. I know what it's like. When I go into prisons and I talk to veterans in prison, I go, I know what it's like. I know you're thinking that your life's over. But I can tell you, I left that prison with £67. I rebuilt my life. I went on to become a fuel tanker driver on 52 grand a year, 4 on 4 off. I started a charity, through the loss of my mate Jamie Doyle. Do you know what I mean? But the support there, you want it. And I buzz helping people. I buzz getting them into I believe in giving someone a fishing rod rather than a fish.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? But we've got to work together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Brilliant.
And, that's it, really. I'll come on anytime anyway.
Jermaine, one small thing, it just come to my mind. I've just forgot. So next weekend, next Saturday, I'm carrying the Baton of Hope. So if you don't know what the Baton of Hope is, it's similar to the Olympic torch where it's going around the whole of the country. It's going around right now. I'm not sure exactly where it is at the moment, but next Saturday it's in Northamptonshire. I'm carrying it in Corby on part of the Corby route, and I'm carrying it for all the veterans that suffer from their PTSD daily, and not only veterans, but civilians as well, because it's very important. What I didn't realise is the civilians are behind the queue of veterans, and veterans are struggling to get mental health support. It is. And it's also, I'm carrying it for those that have sadly no longer with us because they've taken their own lives. And if anyone wants to come and join me on the route, it's in Corby. Just search for Bastion of Hope. If you look at my socials, all my information is on there. I'd love to see you guys, all my brothers and sisters, veterans, alongside me on that route.
I'll message you. I used to live in Northwell, so I might come
Brilliant.
down.
Brilliant.
Darren, any last words before I close the show?
No, listen, but there's anyone who needs, like I said, I do talks as well. So go talking to different groups. If anyone wants me to come and do a talk, talk about employment, talk about support, I'll happily do it. And I might it down next week because I used to live in Northwell, just outside Corby. And I used to deliver to the Morrison's petrol station in Corby as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant, guys. So thank you so much for coming on. Our new co-host is Travelling Veteran once a month, and Darren Wright's going to come on every 3 months to share his story, because that was an incredible story, and it really touched me, to be honest. It really did, because it hits home for me. So thank you, guys. This is the Late Night Veteran Show. Thank you for tuning in. Episode 61 with the traveling veteran and Darren Wright. And I am going to play the theme tune song to end it now. So, guys, good night. God bless. See you soon.
I pledged allegiance to the flag God stood beside me. I swore an oath to my countrymen and kin. Side by side we sang our anthem oh so proudly. And this is where a soldier's tale begins. We left for foreign shores in the